Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. In this episode, we are going to show you one piece of artwork. This piece of artwork has been exhibited in a few places, and let me just find it here in this big catalog. As you can see, this is the artwork. This is the artwork, which is called Qaff Asif. Qaff Asif. i.e. the stormy Qaff. Qaff is, of course, is a letter in Arabic, and it is with this artwork. There's a lot of poems. The poems are based on the execution of Omar Al Mukhtar, the Libyan hero, the Libyan fighter who fought the occupation of the Italians for a long time and been hanged when he was about 90. That's just to tell you how that was. Of course, the art, the poem is here. It's a long poem by Ahmed Shawqi. Ahmed Shawqi is, of course, is the one of the principles of the modern Arab poetry. He's very well known. He died also in 1932, and of course he's written this poem about 3 pages of poem, about 3 pages or 2 pages and a half of poem. And of course the poem is condemning the hanging of the old man and the brutality of the occupation of the Italians those days, and show that type of punishment for people like Omar Al Mukhtar was not to bring peace between nations, neither to bring understanding and good relations to humanity within its own peoples or countries or governments or that type of thing. So anyway, so it is the artworks has taken this poem and written. It was written on the poem. That talking about something like 19. The artwork has been made about 1983. 1983, that's the one. So that's the artwork. The artwork, of course, has been exhibited in a few places, in London, in Dubai, in Malaysia, and places like that. So this is the artwork. And of course, as we were saying, that the poem is really complicated and details so many behaviors, human behaviors, when they are in power, like when they are, shall we say, going and killing other populations, killing other people, and committing genocides and things like that. And of course, Libya was one of those places where the Italians started the first camps to assimilate the population and keep them without food or water or something like this for a long time. So that was also very well known for this. Anyway, let's hope that humanity will learn from these examples and these lessons, and we only hope, no doubt about it. The next one, which is we are looking at, it is a story. This is really very moving story, i.e. moving in the sense that it looks unusually calculated and unusually in one way devious, clever but devious. And this story tells in this book, which is called بدائع السلك في طبائع الملك by Ibn al-Azraq al-Andalusi. It's Ibn al-Azraq al-Andalusi is a student of Ibn Khaldun. Ibn Khaldun, of course, is very well known scientist, and he was a historian and one of the people very famous for his introduction of new ideas, and he was the father of so many sciences in sociology and history and economics and psychology and so many of those. Anyway, Ibn al-Azraq is a student of his, and he's himself is became very important stars, if you want, somebody who inspires others, and a lot of people became his students also. Now, in this book, of course, he's talking about so many ideas which has been developed through his thoughts, and also through his reflection on Ibn Khaldun's work. Now, the story, before we go away too much, the story says that there was this two blind men in the time of the Abbasid time. There was in Baghdad. There was this two blind men who were asking favors of people. One of them sits on this side of the bridge, and the other one sits on the other side of the bridge on the Tigris bridge. The trick was that these two people were somehow have some kind of a partnership. People who are giving them their help and their money and whatever it is, they favors, they don't know this partnership between these two people. One of them shall we say, praising very well-known head of, if you like, of a school of thought. So yeah, which is Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib. So many people in the Arab and Muslim countries sympathize with that, not because, shall we say, they favor this madhab, this school of thought on others, but some of them they, shall we say, supported politically, from political point of view. And the other one, the other guy was asking people in the name of Muawiyah. Muawiyah is another opposite to Sayyidina Ali bin Abi Talib. And of course, there are people who are going to be excited, and sometimes they go even to fighting against the other group who is supporting the other side. So these two blind people, they do this and they reap the results, i.e. a lot of people will, shall we say, because they want to support Ali ibn Abi Talib, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, they put a lot of money to this old man, this blind man from this side. And the other side, the people who are opposite to that, they will put a lot of money to the person who is claiming to present Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. Muawiyah, of course, is the Khalifa, the first Khalifa Umayyad, the Umayyad dynasty, who started by Muawiyah, and then after 150 years or so, they lost power. So that's the idea. The thing which is people don't know, that when everything settles down and these two blind men go home, they meet and then they split what they got, i.e. the idea was to encourage people to put as much money as possible to defend their principal understanding between these two great leaders. People don't know that these people have got something in common. They are really partners. Otherwise, they might not give them any. So that's one of those stories which tells you a lot. This tells you a lot about politics of today. We have so much of that. We have a lot of people who are, in one way, appear to oppose certain parties or certain trends of politics or certain lines of politics, but in the same against somebody else from the other side. But when you look closely to them, you find that these people are playing a part, i.e., they don't really care about this or the other, but it suits them to support this person against the other one. And in the very much like, if you want to put this again, look at the parties where you find a party who is winning, and he starts, shall we say, to govern. The other party didn't win, waits for their chance in the future, and it is very much like, shall we say, okay, this is your turn, take it, and next time I will take my turn. And somehow they're supporting themselves in the system, where this kind of system go on forever. They wouldn't, shall we say, mind if, shall we say, they lose this time, but because they know that next time they will take over. So that things, and of course there are things like this also in economics and other areas of life. The other one, which is a wise saying or a piece of poem, is by Ahmed Shawqi. Ahmed Shawqi is very well known, one of the great poets of the Arab world. This is some of his poems. Anyway, what the poem says. The poem says. Let me read it in Arabic and then try to explain it in English. The poem says, بلادي وإن جارت علي عزيزة وأهلي وإن ضنوا علي كرام. The meaning of this is that Ahmed Shawqi is saying that my country always going to be dear to me, doesn't matter what it does to me. Even if it was not fair to me when it comes, shall we say, to the way they treat me, or some of people inside my country treat me, but my country is always going to be very dear to me. So this is the one of the part of that. And he says also, and my people always going to be, as far as I see them, always going to be generous people, even if they were mean to me and not very generous. So that's the idea. The idea is my country is always going to be dear to me, even if they didn't treat me well, and my people always going to be generous, as far as I feel generous, even if they were not as generous as they should be. That's the piece of poem. Next is the Islamic scientist, which is we need to look at that now. The Islamic scientist here is Abu Bakr ibn Muhammad ibn Saigh al-Mashhur bibn Bajah. Ibn Bajah is one of the great philosophers. He was also Imam, i.e., from very learned in religious studies and history and other means. But of course, he has very big influence on Islamic philosophy and also international philosophy. Just to tell you one small thing to see how influential he was, that he was the teacher, the ustaz of Ibn Rushd, Averroes. Everybody knows Averroes, that the person who taught Europe all about Aristotle and other Greek philosophers and others like that. So that is the person which is we want to, shall we say, let me see exactly where it is. It's 474. So it says Ibn Majah who Abu Bakr Muhammad ibn Yahya ibn Saigh. Now he was from Andalusia. He was the greatest in his time, from more than one area in philosophy, in other areas of knowledge. And he was also being targeted by people who don't like his work and his thoughts and ideas. And he was also one of the best doctors. He was a very well-known doctor in medicine, I mean. And he was also a musician. He was also good in the business of music. And he was also able to play certain musical instrument like oud, so that's the thing which is we, of course. Now, when it comes to the Islamic scientists, of course, the aim of in this small introduction is not to look deep at everything. The aim is just to mention the name, put it in the minds of the listeners, and encourage them to go back in history and read about this and see exactly how these people were working very hard in the benefit of all humanity, where so a lot of what they did, it has its fruits today. Now we see that in more than one area, and let's hope that this episode was useful to you, and I hope to see you very soon, and thank you.